Howdy folks, this is Swaggah. You can see I just typed a message there. Yeah, anyhow, I wanted to talk some about my wild project that I've been working on since December, which is what is now the old wild map of RPG. And yeah, so it is pretty ridiculous in size. Admittedly, I was originally going to go for a larger size, but that was before I settled on the idea of hollowing the whole thing out up to sea level. I'll tell you what, when you're down in the mines, it looks a lot more doable than when you come up here and you realize, oh wow, that is really huge. Because trust me, that's the feeling I had after I finished tearing down a couple mountains over there in the extreme hills biome and realized, wow, this is it's really big. You can see there's a dungeon down there. Sand fell through on. I don't think I actually triggered that. I think TruDan did. It's actually my second time recording this. The first one only got the top left hand of my screen, so that was bothersome. But anyhow, yeah, you can see that I already cleared out a large portion of this. There were significant parts of it in the ocean biome as well as extreme hills. And yeah, I've been working on it since December. Used a good bit of my spare time. Wrong button. Over here, I was scoring some trees. Either to make new tools once I broke them, or mainly to make chests. I made a lot of chests. They're not here right now because I took them away, and basically I was storing all of my cobble from this for some reason. And there's all these giant rows of chests. I have actually a number of pictures from when I was making this. I'll probably put on the forums. And you can see some of my screenshots from the progress there. But yeah, there's one quarter that I finished. Originally I came here when this map started with someone else. I can't recall who anymore. We boated over here from the spawn, and there was like a mountain here and a cave, and went down into it, and there was this abandoned mine shaft that ended up starting a basin, which is actually straight down below me right now. And I was originally just gonna make a temporary base here, collect some of the starting materials before moving farther out into the map. You can see we're not very far away now, just a couple kilometers or so. And yeah, so I eventually got to thinking when I'm sort of my mind down at diamond level that I was gonna make this circle and just like mine it out for diamonds, since apparently this map was to have less diamonds. That was Hollow's plan, to have lower diamonds, make resources a little bit harder to come by. Didn't have as much ridiculous wealth as we've had in previous maps. I'm alright with that. But yeah, originally this was supposed to be like a mine level thing where I had this circle, and then I would go on to another place. But after I made it at that level, for some reason I had the idea that, you know what, I was gonna take this whole thing up to the surface and down the bedrock, and then build something inside of it. A huge monument to spare time and fun in Minecraft. So I started on that. Originally I worked down at the bottom level, and did mining there, brought it from the diamond level down to bedrock, and then filled it all in with these torches and cobblestone slabs. And this pattern here is kind of arbitrary, really. Although I think it looks cool. I did upload one screenshot from right around down there, looking outwards, or yeah, I think looking outwards on the forums. But unfortunately, I didn't have enough spare time to finish this. Now down there is where my base was, and I had a little farm, as you can see down there. A little part of it, like half of it, got cut off with me taking out this quarter. And I had an anvil, some chests, bed, you know, normal stuff. I built all of that inside of a zombie dungeon. Eventually, when I was down there for a while, I decided that it'd just be easier for me to come to the top and just mine sections out, going straight down to the area I'd already cleared out. First part I did was here, where we had this stone brick pillar. I'll put that in later. There's that section right there. I went down and did some over there and over there. I took out like these mountains, these huge mountains that were up here. It's part of Extreme Hills biome. Things that aren't really huge compared to the new terrain updates. Still pretty big. And you're probably wondering, this little staircase I have here, composed of smooth stone. Basically, when I was mining out these areas, I wanted an easy way to go from one of my homes, the top center there, which is actually what it's called, to wherever I was currently mining out. So I would just mine out the stone, except for a staircase to get down and back up. Rather just get down. While I was going along, I would make chests occasionally to store all my excess cobble. So there's chests there, there's one down there. I think there's one right there, one right there, right there, etc. And TruDan actually helped a lot in moving a bunch of those I had that ended up being floating over here, over to the middle. So, thanks TruDan. When you get closer down to the bottom here, you can see I did a lot of work in my spare time. A lot. Someone would say too much, I'd say, you know what, you were probably entirely correct. This was a rather tedious way of spending my spare time, but you know what? I actually kind of enjoyed it. So then there was this little structure here I built after I mined out this area below the diamond level. It was like right up there. I mined out this first circle originally, like the torches right now. I'll tell you what, I got like so many stacks of obsidian from doing this, because for a long while I was just carrying a water bucket with me, and when I came across lava, I would obsidianize it and eventually take it out later with a diamond pick. Although for a while there, the permissions for the drain command were open, and I was informed of that by someone. I did use that a few times, and it definitely saved me some time. But nonetheless, I got a lot of obsidian from that. Now, like I said, this was originally an idea for starting mine with a unique concept. and I was gonna go somewhere else and do something else, but many other times I made projects on this server, I have ideas that come to mind that sprout out. Often normal, sometimes ridiculous in scope and scale. This was just one of them in a series. And I'll show you over here a little water elevator to my base. Kind of slow and you need to stop halfway up to get air, but it works. Although eventually I just used it for descending and reascended with the home command. This little potato farm. Bed, enchanting table, zombie spawner. I just kept it. And, you know, it's normal stuff here. Anvil, chests, furnaces. Over here is where I originally came in, and I sealed it all off with smooth stone. But, since I'm going to be mostly moving over to the new wild server, might as well open it up for you. I actually don't recall how much I filled up. Might have been like a whole corridor and then sides, so I might not run into back where I started over here. I used like a couple stacks of smooth stone. It looks like I'm not gonna find it. But yeah, there was this mine shaft that's going right through here that I filled up. And I marked it off with the torches. There was another one that was up here. I blocked off and made a little farm and stuff. Originally I had like a little 4x4 of this water here that dropped down like well, it was over there, dropped down to here and then went down from my water elevator. Because that was going to be in the way, right here and up, of this quarter of the project I finished. I moved it. Nice little flower, of course. Over here, I did not build this. I'm pretty sure TruDan did. Looks cool though. It was either him or Draco. You're probably wondering about this here in these chests. The thing is, there were like 2 rows of chests from over there all the way over to over there and down there. They were all filled with cobblestone. I've since moved those. And I'm thinking I might build a castle or some such in the new wild map. But yeah, that's my thoughts right now regarding this. I'm gonna go show you my cobble storage, and then I'm gonna recap some of the ideas, my projects before this, and some ideas I had for what I would do after I hauled out the cylinder. So here we are. Got some stairs going outside. It's covert, dirt, anvil, chests and stuff, and my cobble storage. If you're wondering, no, not all of these chests are full of cobble, but most of them are. In fact, the only chests that aren't full are these ones right here. This one's full. This one's not entirely full. And these two are empty. The rest of these, however, are entirely full of stacks of cobblestone. Back here, in the middle here, all the way to the beginning. Yeah, a ridiculous amount of cobblestone. In fact, let me just show you my statistics real quick. Almost 290,000 stone mined. Truly a ridiculous number, I will admit that. So again, regarding this build here, or rather the pre-build stage, it's not the first time I've done something like this. Excuse me. In the map prior to this, I had a couple ideas which were similar. One was that I was taking a abandoned mining shaft and digging out all the blocks around it, except for the cobwebs, the fences, and the planks. And I got a good bit of that done. Several chunks. At least at its level. I didn't really go above or below, but pretty good bit. A lot of digging. And there was another idea later on to that map where I found an island out in an ocean biome, and I was digging around it. And I was going to take the area around the ocean, around the island, bring it down to bedrock, tear down my walls around it, and have basically this water flowing down to a chasm around this small little island. Maybe put a little lighthouse on it or something. Now for this, I didn't have a name for it really. I had a few ideas, such as after I'd hollow it out, I would build a platform in the middle, reminiscent of Zisto's lens, or perhaps attached to the outside or floating in the center would be several different discs with farms and enchanting and different uses around them. And for after the main stage here, I had an additional idea to just put designs in the walls and stone bricks and other blocks, and then around the outside I would have this hexagon of 6 pillars, and they would each be up to almost the build height, 220 or 230, with arches connecting them, maybe even a dome. And it would just be this giant monument to free time in Minecraft. But sadly I didn't have enough time for that. I might have already went over this earlier. But yeah, those were just some ideas I had about this. Yeah, I actually have a half-built prototype for one of the pillars in my creative plot, so I might as well hop over there and show that too. Okay, so we're here in creative, everything's awesome. Over there's the dude, and over here is the beginning of one of the pillars I was designing. Pretty simple design, admittedly, but when the main point of them is to be ridiculously large around another ridiculously large build. It doesn't have to be really complex, and I'm not much of a builder either. But yeah, there's just some ideas and thoughts regarding my wild project and old wild, and some ideas about what I might do in the new wild. And also down there is a build I've been working on for a while from several maps ago, actually from like 1.4.2 to the official release for a house. But I might go over that later. So, thanks, friends, random people from online, and acquaintances from Down with Destruction. This is my video regarding that one project. Thanks for watching.